In this video, I will use the Skelegon from Dragon Quest as a Pokémon in Fire Red. Its HP and Wisdom are actually better than their total suggest, because Table 6 has the second highest growth rate before level 17, tied with 19 to 24, but it basically stops growing afterwards. Unfortunately, since Pokémon uses a formula instead of a lookup table for stat calculation, there's no way to change the growth rate at different levels. The best I can do to compensate is bumping up its HP and special attack a little. For base stats, it will have 54 HP, a huge 138 attack, 90 defense, 54 special attack, 40 special defense, and 48 speed. These make a total of 424, which is still pretty low, and it's clearly going to be a glass cannon. Note that due to the counterintuitive way growth tables work in the original Monsters games on GBC, higher index numbers don't always mean better stats. For example, 12 and 18 are among the best, while 13 and 19 are really bad. Its level-up moves are based on its default Crack and Zam skill set in the 3DS remake, with some other moves thrown in for flavor. Crack is the ice element, and Zam is equivalent to Ghost or Dark. It also learns Double-Edged Slash in the original, hence Takedown and Double Edge. The TMs and HMs are just the ones that make the most sense, plus all the generic moves like Toxic and Secret Power that all standard Pokémon can learn. All solo run rules apply. I'm not using Hidden Power due to its luck-based nature in this generation. I will set up a Skelegon with a neutral nature, perfect IVs, and pre-applied EVs. Natures are pointless when I can just edit its base stats, and its EVs will be evenly split between HP, attack, special defense, and speed. Its typing will obviously be Dragon and Rock, since it is just an agatized dragon skeleton, and it spawns from fossils in Joker 2. The Rock Head ability is also a given. I put it in the 600,000 experience group, like all the fossil Pokémon from Gen 3 onwards. This group levels up the slowest before level 30 or so, but speeds up drastically afterwards. You can get a Skelegon in the original Terry's Wonderland by breeding the green dragon with almost any undead monster, and it has one of the best attack growths in the game. It's a great monster to have early on. I fought all the optional trainers in Viridian Forest and Brock's Gym, but I'm still only level 11, because of my experience group. But since I start off with an ice move, and both of Brock's Pokémon are part ground type, it should still be an easy win. He gives the TM for Rock Tomb, which is terrible in this gen, with only 50 power and 80% accuracy. Strangely, the AI in this gen treats this move as a speed debuff instead of a damaging attack, so it disregards your weaknesses and resistances when using it. I also fought all the trainers and rocket grunts in Mount Moon, and I'm only level 18. It just shows you how slowly this group levels up in the beginning. The second rival fight can be very annoying if you can't one-shot his Pidgeotto, as it loves to spam sand attack, so I hope Rock Throw will be enough without a level advantage. And it was, so I don't have to deal with accuracy drops, and the rest of his team should be no threat. Again, I fought all the trainers on the way to Bill's lab, and I'm barely at a higher level than Misty Starmie, which is obviously faster than me. It also knows Water Pulse, and while I'm not weak to it due to being part dragon, my special defense is still dreadful. Fortunately, I didn't get confused and was able to two-shot it. She gives the TM for Water Pulse, but it makes no sense for a skeleton to learn it. I already have ice moves for coverage anyway. The rival battle on the ship is just a joke, and his team is way too underleveled to pose any problem. By the way, Meowth is the pickup Pokémon in this game, and it's the best way to farm berries. It can also pick up nuggets and PP ups, and it's actually the only way to get the Hidden Power TM here. Surge is easily the worst gym leader in these games. I guess his Raichu can paralyze you and set up double team, but in a normal playthrough, you can simply catch a level 29 or 31 Dugtrio next door and one-shot it with Dig. He gives the TM for Shockwave, which sounds like a ground-type move, but it's electric and bypasses accuracy check. They certainly could have made it a ground move that electric Pokémon can also learn, since electric types have the worst coverage. Due to the number of unskippable battles along the way, you'll naturally be overleveled for the rival in the tower. And here's my Meowths picking up hidden power and a PP up. I didn't learn Rock Slide in the tunnel, because I will learn Rock Blast later. Rock moves really aren't too useful at this stage of the game, where routes are no longer crowded with bug and bird trainers. Also, Dragon Claw is special in this gen, despite it making no sense at all. I probably won't keep it for long, since dragon moves aren't very useful either, countering only itself. I'm starting to pick up the pace in leveling now, making the first Giovanni fight a piece of cake. His Kangaskhan is bulky enough to survive a few hits, but it can't do much damage back. The trainers in Erica's gym give good experience, so I fought most of them to gain a couple extra levels. I do have Ice Punch for her grass types, but I don't get stab on it, and my special attack is quite bad without any EVs. I'll equip a Cherry Berry for Stun Spore, since there's no way I'll be able to one-shot her Vileplume without a critical hit, and it can heal itself with Giga Drain. Both her Victory Bell and Tangela have terrible special defense, so they are easy one-shots, but her Vileplume has 90 base special defense and can certainly survive an unboosted Ice Punch. I hit level 42 to learn Dragon Dance, but the Giga Drain TM is useless when I'm literally a pile of bones. Koga's gym presents a huge level spike, but the bikers on the cycling road give great experience, and I'm really starting to level up quickly now. I learned Strength just for this gym, since I can simply equip a Pecha Berry and set up Dragon Dance until I get poisoned. In hindsight, I should probably have learned Aerial Ace instead, because his Koffings can use Smokescreen to mess up my accuracy. Thankfully, that didn't happen, and I was able to get 2 Dragon Dances in, which should be enough to sweep his team. Rock Blast only has 80% accuracy in this gen, so I'll probably replace it with Rock Slide later. Its accuracy was buffed to 90% in Gen 5, but it's just too unreliable here. I'm just a glass cannon, so I won't be using the Toxic TM. The move Deleter is right next to the gym, and I'll use him to unlearn Strength and replace it with Brick Break, which you can buy in this game. The Sylph rival battle shouldn't be a problem, as long as his Pidgeot doesn't open with Sand Attack. Fortunately, it didn't, and I should easily be able to one-shot everything on his team after a single Dragon Dance. I now have Double Edge, which is my best move for neutral damage, since Stab Rock Slide only has 112.5 power, while Double Edge is 120 with 100% accuracy. I don't take any recoil damage either, thanks to my Rock Head ability. The following Giovanni battle is even easier, as he leads with a Nidorino that can't really do anything. Actually, this is a common problem with a lot of enemy teams in this game. They open with a setup fodder that just allows you to stack buffs and sweep their team. They should open with a disruptive Pokémon that makes setup difficult, like the rival's Pidgeot, and Maxie or Archie's Mightyena in Ruby and Sapphire. Blaine has 2 Intimidators, but again, his lead Growlithe can't do anything. It doesn't even have Roar, as far as I know. Besides, isn't he supposed to have a Magmar? At least it can use Smokescreen and Confuse Ray to deter setups. Anyway, I can just set up Dragon Dance for free on his Growlithe, since I doubly resist fire, and Double Edge should just one-shot everything. He gives the Fire Blast TM, but since the Skelegon only learns Ice skills naturally, I didn't make Fire TMs compatible. I totally forgot about Sabrina's Psychic Gym. I have Shadow Ball now, which is the closest stand-in for Kazam, and it's physical before Gen 4. All of her Pokémon are physically frail, so I won't even need to set up to one-shot them. A mindless skeleton clearly can't use Calm Mind, so the TM is useless. Giovanni's Ground Gym could be annoying, since I have a weakness to it, and his lead Rhyhorn will always use Scary Face when it's slower. I will use Dragon Dance once, which should be enough to one-shot it with Brick Break, and then set up again on his Duck Trio until I'm faster. I will have to take 2 Earthquakes, but my base 90 defense should be enough to survive. His Doug Trio wasn't able to take me out, even with a critical hit. Also, it no longer has Fissure in these remakes, and one-hit KO moves don't work at a lower level from the 2nd gen onward anyway. I had to use Shadow Ball against his Nidos because they have the Poison Point ability, and Double Edge makes contact. My attack was at +3 stages, so it was more than enough to one-shot them. He gives the TM for Earthquake, but I don't see how a skeleton can set one off without crumbling itself. Before fighting the rival, I went to the Rock Tunnel to learn Rock Slide. I don't know why they couldn't have just made these moves into TMs instead, for much better quality of life. But I guess it's to retain full compatibility with Ruby and Sapphire, since DLCs weren't a thing back then. I know that we all love to complain about DLCs now, but here's a shining example to show that they do have their place when used thoughtfully. It's just unfortunate that more often than not, they're abused as a low-effort means of money grab these days, where most DLCs are just pay to win or removed content sold back. But I digress. Anyway, since I'm already leveling up so quickly now, my sheer level advantage alone makes this fight a cakewalk. However, I can see some huge struggles in the final champion battle, due to his Pidgeot and the order he sends out his Pokémon. Oh, and his Blastoise actually survived a hit, which certainly isn't a good sign. Here are my stats and moves for the league. True to my appearance, I'm slow and fragile, but I do have an excellent attack stat to compensate, as well as decent type coverage. I'll equip an Aspear Berry for Lorelei, just in case of a freeze while I set up on her lead Dugong. You can defrost on your own in this gen, but it's only a 10% chance each turn. Her Dugong doesn't normally like to attack, but my ice weakness and horrible special defense meant it would rather try to two-shot me with Ice Beam, instead of setting up Hail and Safeguard. One Dragon Dance should still be enough though, provided I don't miss Rock Slide on her Lapras. I didn't miss, and I'm pretty sure the crit on her Lapras didn't matter unless it had max defense EVs, since its physical defense is only base 80, despite its shell. Her Cloyster could be a range, depending on its EV spread, or if it has any EVs at all. Bruno is easy. His lead Onix has a chance of using Earthquake instead of Rock Tomb, thanks to my ground weakness, but its attack stat is so horrendous that it actually works out better for me. Besides, I don't need the speed buff from Dragon Dance anyway, since I'm already faster than his entire team. Everything on his team should be easy one-shots at +2 stages of attack. I've equipped a Lum Berry for Agatha, since all of her Pokémon can inflict status ailments. Her first Ganger usually opens with Double Team, but since it only has physical attacks, one of which I resist, I can set up on it pretty safely and just attack until I land a hit. I can actually one-shot all her ghosts without any setup, but her Arbok has Intimidate, so it might survive a Double Edge at -1 stage. Lance could be a problem for me due to my dragon weakness, if he didn't open with a Gyarados that has an absolutely awful moveset. Its only physical move is Hyper Beam, which it's never going to use against me, and its other moves are Dragon Rage, Twister, and Bite. So, again, I'll just set up Dragon Dance on it until I can one-shot everything on his team. The only way I can lose is if I miss Rock Slide on his Dragonite, as I don't think Double Edge at +2 stages is enough, but that's only a 10% chance. Judging from the damage Twister does, his Gyarados clearly doesn't even have any special attack EVs. I'm not certain bosses have EVs at all in Gen 3, but I know for a fact that all Pokémon used in the Battle Tower and Frontier have maxed EVs, plus preset IVs and natures. Also, all important trainers in the later gens have maxed EVs as well. The champion battle is the one I'm worried about. I can't set up on his Pidgeot because of Sand Attack and Feather Dance, and due to my typing, he will send out his Rhydon after it, which knows Rock Tomb, Scary Face, and Earthquake. Even if I was able to set up on it, I'd certainly have lost more speed than I would have gained, and I'd likely to be on low health for the rest of his team. Well, let's just see how it goes, although I really doubt that I can win with my current moveset. His Pidgeot is obviously a one-shot with Rock Slide, but his Rhydon will always use either Scary Face or Rock Tomb to lower my speed, and its Earthquake does well over half. Once I knock it out, I'll still be slower than his next Pokémon and won't be able to survive a hit. He sends out Alakazam next, which will obviously go first. It used Future Sight instead of Psychic, but it doesn't matter since it hits even after I knock it out, so this is already GG. His Arcanine is also faster, and it stunned me with Bite. Again, it wouldn't matter since he already had Future Sight on the way. It seems I probably have to one-shot his Rhydon, or fish for a miss from Rock Tomb or Scary Face. The first 4 battles are basically free wins, as long as I don't get extremely unlucky, so I'll just speed through them. It's the last battle I'm having trouble with. I have to set up because his Arcanine has Intimidate, and his Blastoise has high defense and knows ice moves, so the question is when. I can't risk getting hit by Sand Attack or Feather Dance, so I have to take out his Pidgeot right away, and as we just saw, I'd lose more speed than I gain by setting up on his Rhydon. I think I'll have to equip a Citrus Berry and hope for a first-turn Earthquake or a miss. I should only need 1 stage of speed to go before his Alakazam and Arcanine. I really wish the White Herb was available in this game, as it would allow me to set up on his Pidgeot. Unfortunately, I didn't get either, so that didn't work out. I'll need to change my strategy and moveset for him. I might actually have the best chances setting up on his Alakazam, which only has 1 direct attacking move, and this means I'll have to one-shot his Rhydon without setup. The only move that could possibly achieve this is Blizzard, but my special attack is pretty bad, and it doesn't have the best accuracy. Well, I'll have to give it a shot anyway. As I expected, Blizzard just missed out on a one-shot against his Rhydon, but it also missed its Scary Face, leaving my speed intact. I'll use Dragon Dance when he heals, and then try for a better roll with Blizzard. And it turns out it's not a range, so Blizzard doesn't work either. I did survive a Psychic, but it queued up Future Sight, and even if it misses, his Arcanine is still faster, and it has extreme speed too, so this is another fail. My new plan is to use Dragon Dance once on his Rhydon, and that should allow me to one-shot it with Brick Break. The best case scenario is for it to miss or use Rock Tomb, but even if it lands Scary Face, I'm still faster at -1 stage. Then, hopefully I should be able to use Dragon Dance twice on his Alakazam. Let's see if this works out, and if not, I'll just resort to using rare candies to not waste any more time. His Rhydon did use Scary Face, but Brick Break was a one-shot. The following Alakazam started with Reflect, which isn't good, but I'm still at full HP, so I can afford to set up an extra time and possibly even stall it out. Its Psychic did less than half, and this means my Citrus Berry will bring me out of KO range of extreme speed after the second hit. I shouldn't have risked Rock Slide missing on his Executor, but it can stun just in case it survives due to Reflect. Now Reflect is gone, so Double Edge will definitely be enough to one-shot his Arcanine and Blastoise. So, in conclusion, the Skelegon has been a real glass cannon, kind of like it was in the original DQM games. It didn't have any trouble throughout the majority of the game, but its lack of speed and bulk really hurt it in the final champion battle. Also, just like the Green Dragon, it could benefit greatly from the physical and special split in the later games. Thanks for watching.